You're celebrating 25th anniversary of the first bike you made this year, in early July.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about that?
No,
Did you think you'd live that long?
No, actually, no. Yeah, when you're a kid, you don't ever think you'd even live to be 25 years old, let alone be in business for 25 years. It's fun to think about all the things we've done. So it's definitely it's a celebration. It is a long time. It's definitely not an overnight success, but
no,
it takes many years to to get there. So we got a lot of it's a lot of fun to celebrate. A lot of the people who've been with me for a very long time.
So some of them are still around from early days, RR 1000 days perhaps.
Yep, since the very days when we were working in just indescribably horrible conditions. We've been talking about it this year and reminiscing, and went over to the old shop and we're digging through old files for photos, and it's fun to do that.
Yeah.
But also makes you feel a bit old.
Tell me about the 750 or the WR 750. Hang on, RW. Sorry, RW 750. I knew I'd get that wrong.
Okay, that's a long time ago. You remember the early days.
Because I actually don't know a lot about the bike, and there's not a huge amount of information out there on it. Can you tell me just a little bit about it, what the configuration was? It was for Formula One racing in the States?
Yes, it was a sheer stroke of madness, not of genius. But I was a Formula One racer at that time.
Yep.
And so I started out initially that I just didn't want to race. I was working for Harley, and they had absolutely nothing that was related to the road racing world at all, but that's what I had come up through. So I was racing TZ 750s and Daytona 200 and bikes in Superbike, but Harley had come on hard times. I was there right in the transition of where things were hard, and I felt very bad about racing.
What year are we talking?
Competitor. Oh, well, I went to work for them in '79.
Okay, all right.
So this one had been somewhere around '81 when things were really starting to get rough.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't race this Ducati and Yamaha anymore. So I was looking around for something else to race, and I stumbled across the bike out of England, the original Barton project.
It was a Barton. Okay, all right. I wasn't sure. That was a square 4, wasn't it?
I initially bought it for something for me to race.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be from a competitor.
Yeah.
And it was unfunctional.
Yeah.
But then in just the weird circumstances that happened, was trying to contact them to get some parts, and found out they were shutting down and going out of business. But they were going to have a fire sale, and did I want everything that was there? And sheer madness, I said, well, of course. And that's how it started. So I brought back just a pile of some good stuff, a lot of junk, and it started on the project to go over. So the first thing I did was build a whole new chassis for it, because that was what I specialized on.
Right.
The chassis was no good, and I fixed some of the fundamental things that were breaking on the engine that really had an incredibly short life, and got it kind of running, and that was the story. But it was a square 4 2-stroke rotary valve, water cooled, very high horsepower, very peaky, as most rotary valve engines are, particularly those that are in the hands of teams without a lot of resources to dial in the perfect combination of pipe and rotary valve. So it was a violent thing to ride. It made a TZ 750 feel like just the gentlest little pussycat motorcycle. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I was a top 10 AMA Formula One rider on a TZ 750, so I could ride reasonably well. That thing was a monster to ride because it had so much more horsepower and such a big jump in power. But that was the first Buell. So actually I left Harley Davidson to start building those, and right after I announced that we were going to production, because we thought we had fixed everything on, we were going to build some, they announced that that was the last year for them, that they were going to go to stock-based bikes in the US. So that was
shattering.
Oh boy. So I went from literally they did the interviews for me for the magazine, for Cycle magazine, and between the time when they did the interviews and when the magazine hit the newsstand was when the AMA announced the class was going away. So literally before they had announced that, and the magazine comes out as Eric Buell tries to build a world beater, and his little cameo in the corner, and it's I was almost there.